There's nothing like real homegrown spaghetti.
Did you know that in the 1950s, people were crazy about a dish that combined tuna, noodles, and mushroom soup? We've got a big treat for you today. We're unraveling the top 30 famous foods from the 1930s that baby boomers will remember. Number 30, tuna noodle casserole. Tuna noodle casserole, the unsung hero or villain, depending on who you ask, of mid-century American kitchens. Criticized for its simplicity or lack of culinary finesse, this dish held its ground on dinner tables throughout the 1950s and 60s. Canned tuna, mushroom soup, and a medley of seasonings, from curry powder to grated American cheese, were the stars of this show. The 1962 Standard, favorite recipes of American home economics teachers, even dedicated pages to this casserole, showcasing creative variations involving potato chips, stale bread, or even cashews. Now, I don't know about you, but the thought of canned tuna often brings feline associations to my mind. Yet, that didn't deter my mother from whipping up this dish regularly. Tuna noodle casserole epitomizes the era. Affordable, foolproof, and perfect for families on the go. It's the classic welcome to the neighborhood dish, with results that are completely hit or miss, loaded with canned and sometimes less than healthy ingredients. Not many young folks today indulge in a hearty helping of fish, noodles, and peas. Try getting your casserole dish back from the neighbors after sharing this. Good luck with that cleanup. And for many baby boomers, tuna noodle casserole is now a nostalgic, guilty pleasure. Adverse effects and all, there's something about the combination of egg noodles, fish, condensed soup, and frozen peas that takes them back to a simpler time. But let's be honest, tossing all these ingredients into one dish might just be considered a culinary crime in some circles. Number 29, ambrosia. We all remember ambrosia, the controversial salad that took the 50s and 60s by storm.
Dinner delayed, maybe ruined, and that awful mess to clean up.
Oranges, coconut, maraschino cherries, bananas, pineapple, marshmallows, a fruity fiesta that often included gelatin and whipped toppings. Its origins are shrouded in mystery, though references can be found as far back as the 19th century cookbook. Nevertheless, ambrosia has stood the test of time, particularly in the South and other parts of the country. Picture this: jet-puffed marshmallows, shredded coconut, pineapple, mandarin oranges, all crowned with a dollop of whipped cream. Ambrosia, in its frozen glory after a night in the freezer, transforms into a slightly sad, fruity spectacle. Oddly enough, it's often served not as a dessert, but as part of the main course during Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners. An unexpected addition to the holiday lineup. Originally a dish with seemingly luxurious ingredients, its name was inspired by the food of the Greek gods. However, with the introduction of marshmallows in the 1920s, ambrosia became a staple during holiday feasts. Fast forward to today, and the once lavish dish is met with a skeptical glaze from health-conscious millennials, as the modern ingredients are more unhealthy than extravagant. Number 28, rumaki. Let's embark on a culinary time machine and swing by the 60s, an era that celebrated tiki culture and luau-themed parties. Thanks to the rise of iconic establishments like Trader Vic's, the Hawaiian Room in New York City, and Hawaii's newfound statehood in 1959, Polynesian-inspired bites became all the rage. Enter the pupu platter, featuring a variety of small delights, including the one-bite wonder known as rumaki, a tantalizing appetizer featuring chicken liver and water chestnuts wrapped in bacon. Have you ever experienced the delight of rumaki? Maybe it's been a while, but this throwback snack deserves a moment in the spotlight. In the midst of the jalapeno popper craze, let's pay homage to this classic that delivers big on taste with minimal effort. Hailing from the renowned Trader Vic's restaurants in the 50s and 60s, rumaki's roots can be traced back to the 1940s, as seen on the menu of Don the Beachcomber in Palm Springs, California.
For one thing, I miss those paychecks.
While some versions include chicken liver, an acquired taste for some, the overall experience is undeniably savory and delicious. Number 27, Swedish meatballs. Swedish meatballs, the epitome of mid-century chic and a fixture at 1960s cocktail parties. If you're a child of the 50s and 60s, chances are your parents served up this super hip dish. A delectable concoction of beef or pork drenched in rich gravy, cream sauce, or accompanied by a side of lingonberry jam. Swedish meatballs were a gastronomic sensation. Nordic fever swept through the 50s and 60s, not only bringing us Dank's tableware and Danish furniture, but also a love for Scandinavian culture. Swedish meatballs, often simplified for home cooks with the addition of cream of mushroom soup, became a cherished part of many American childhoods. Yet, let's be real. The real labor of love here is in the rolling and cooking of those meaty little balls. And guess what? The tradition lives on. You can still snag Swedish meatballs at IKEA or other specialty food stores, or channel your inner chef and whip up a batch yourself using a recipe straight from Sweden's official website. Number 26. Swanson frozen dinners. Imagine having 260 tons of leftover turkey staring you in the face. What do? If you're Swanson, you flash freeze it, stick it in tiny aluminum trays, and voila! The birth of the iconic Swanson frozen dinner. Back in 1953, Swanson found themselves with a turkey Thanksgiving surplus, and they weren't about to let it go to waste. In a stroke of genius, Swanson executive Gary Thomas came up with the idea to create reheatable meals packaged in convenient trays. And just like that, the era of TV dinners was born.
Wasn't the television. It was the freezer, specifically the flash freezer.
Fueled by the nation's newfound fascination with television, these dinners became a savior for busy families. Of course, no family gathering around the TV dinner tray was complete without a little sibling squabble over who got the coveted Salisbury steak. Legend has it that the idea struck after lackluster Thanksgiving sales left Swanson with a turkey surplus. Drawing inspiration from the meals served on domestic flights, Swanson envisioned a convenient, ready-to-eat dinner. The first-year production estimate, a modest 5,000 dinners. Little did they know, by the end of that first year, over 10 million of the 98-cent turkey and dressing TV dinner meals had flown off the shelves. Number 25. Beef Stroganoff. Beef Stroganoff, a dish that transcends borders and time, originating in Russia in the mid-19th century. Legend has it that this creamy, beefy delight was first crafted by a French chef for Count Pavel Stroganoff, blending the flavors of French and Russian cuisines into one exquisite dish. Interestingly, the earliest reference to beef stroganoff dates back to an 1891 food article showcasing its enduring appeal. Fast forward to the 1950s and 1960s, and beef stroganoff had firmly cemented its place in the pantheon of comfort food classics. This was an era when cookbooks featuring gourmet cookery couldn't go without a nod to this beloved dish. Recipes varied wildly, with some incorporating mushrooms, others adding a hint of tomato paste, and even some substituting beef fillet with humble hamburgers. But it wasn't just about taste. Beef stroganoff was a symbol of a post-war abundance and prosperity. Following the beef rations of World War II, indulging in a beef-heavy dish like this felt somewhat luxurious. And when canned cream of mushroom soup hit the shelves, turning out a pot of beef stroganoff became as easy as pie, or should I say noodles. So whether you're serving it over buttered noodles or fluffy rice, beef stroganoff remains a timeless favorite, bridging continents and generations with its rich, creamy goodness. It's a dish that reminds us that comfort knows no boundaries. It's as at home on a busy weekend dinner table as it is at a fancy dinner party. Number 24. Fruit cocktail cake. It's that wonderful mishmash of canned fruit chunks that somehow found its way into every mid-century pantry. Originally conceived as a clever solution to utilize leftover fruit bits from processing, it soon became a mealtime savior for busy families everywhere. But it wasn't until the mid-1950s that someone had the genius idea of incorporating it into a cake recipe. According to Ann Burns' American Cake, this marriage of fruit cocktail and cake batter birthed a dessert that's as easy as it is delicious.
Good coffee. And I can actually have my cake and eat it.
Picture this, a basic cake recipe jazzed up with the addition of fruit cocktail, resulting in a moist, flavorful treat that practically bakes itself. With ingredients readily available in every pantry, it's no wonder this cake quickly became a go-to for home cooks looking to whip up a sweet sensation in no time. Now let's talk about fruitcake. You know, that dense, heavily spiced loaf that seems to haunt holiday gatherings like a ghost of Christmas past? Despite its centuries-old history dating back to the 16th century Europe, it's become the butt of many jokes and the ultimate re-gift item. As Johnny Carson famously quipped, the worst Christmas gift is fruitcake. There's only one fruitcake in the entire world, and people just keep sending it to each other year after year. So while fruitcake may continue to mystify and confound us, fruit cocktail cake offers a refreshing twist on the classic fruit-infused dessert. It's moist, it's flavorful, and best of all, it's actually enjoyed. Number 23, clam dip. Let's dive into the savory sensation that is clam dip. Picture this. It's the early 1950s, and America is in the midst of a culinary craze sparked by the introduction of a simple yet irresistible appetizer on the Kraft Music Hall TV show. This dip, featuring the briny goodness of canned clams, quickly captured the hearts and taste buds of viewers across the nation. So much so that within a mere 24 hours of its television debut, New York City found itself in a clam shortage as eager fans rushed to stock up on canned clams. Here's the surprise. Clam dip wasn't exactly a new invention. In fact, its roots trace back to earlier iterations that were more commonly spread on bread or crackers. One such recipe can be found in Irma Rombauer's Streamlined Cooking, hinting at a culinary tradition that predates its television debut. And thanks to the sleuthing skills of culinary historians like Gene Anderson, we can even trace the earliest print of clam dip back to Edith Balling Galt Wilson, the second wife of President Woodrow Wilson. However, it wasn't until its spotlight moment on television that clam dip truly skyrocketed to fame, becoming a quintessential snack food of the 50s and 60s. While it may not be as ubiquitous on modern-day party platters, clam dip remains a timeless classic that evokes nostalgia for cozy family gatherings and spirited game card nights. So the next time you're craving a taste of nostalgia, why not whip up a batch of clam dip and transport yourself back to simpler times? Number 22. Baked Alaska. Now let's set the stage for a culinary marvel that's as delightful to the eyes as it is to the taste buds. The iconic Baked Alaska. Imagine the scene. It's the 1860s in the bustling kitchens of Delmonico's in New York City.
The colour of it. And the smell of that glazed Italian meringue.
A creative chef, inspired by French culinary traditions, crafts a masterpiece that involves a cake, ice cream, and a glorious torched meringue. Legend has it, this delectable creation got its name in celebration of the recent Alaska purchase by the U.S., adding a patriotic touch to its already impressive presentation. Fast forward to 1876, and Chef Charles Ronhover of Delmonico's, in a nod to the recently acquired American territory of Alaska, unveils the Baked Alaska as a show-stopping dessert. Worth noting, Alaska didn't officially become a state until 1959, but this dessert was already a sensation long before that. So, how does this culinary spectacle unfold? Picture a lemon-flavored sponge cake, aptly named egg yolk sponge cake, serving as the delicious foundation. In its center sits a half tub of ice cream, ready to be embraced by a meticulously crafted meringue. The pièce de résistance is achieved by placing the entire creation in a scorching 500-degree oven for a few suspenseful minutes, and the result? A breathtaking presentation that defies expectation. The ice cream remains miraculously unmelted thanks to the insulating power of the meringue. Number 21. Canned meat. Alright, let's just talk about a culinary icon that's been a pantry staple for generations. Canned meat. Now we're not just talking any old meat here, we're diving into the world of those infamous squares of pressed pork, none other than Spam. Introduced in 1937, Spam quickly became synonymous with convenience and affordability, capturing the hearts and taste buds of Americans nationwide. During World War II, Spam played a crucial role in feeding U.S. troops overseas, earning it a reputation as a reliable source of sustenance. But its appeal extended far beyond the battlefield. Back home, families embraced Spam as a versatile ingredient that could be incorporated into a variety of dishes, from hearty stews to breakfast scrambles. Now you might be wondering, how did this mystery meat gain its peculiar name? Well, there are a few theories floating around. Some speculate that Spam is an acronym, representing phrases like scientifically processed animal matter or shoulder of pork and ham. Others believe it's a blend of spice and ham, nodding to its flavorful profile. However, the official story behind the name is a tad more whimsical. Legend has it that Hormel Foods, the company behind Spam, held a naming contest at a New Year's Eve party in 1936. The winning entry, submitted by Kenneth Daigneault, a Broadway actor and brother of a Hormel executive, was none other than Spam. And with that, a culinary legend was born. Despite the passage of time, Spam continues to hold a special place in the hearts of many, with sales soaring to incredible heights. So much so that in 1959, the 1 billionth can of Spam rolled off the production line, solidifying its status as a cultural icon. And with its availability in 44 countries worldwide,
Bones, part of meat, and bones, tongue, and veal.
Spam's legacy shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. Number 20. Beef bourguignon. Now let's talk about a dish that's not just a feast for the taste buds, but also a nod to culinary royalty. Beef bourguignon. Long before celebrity chefs dominated our screens, there was the incomparable Julia Child, who waltzed into American kitchens in the 60s with her groundbreaking cookbook and cooking show. As the nation fell head over heels for Julia's culinary charm, French cooking, epitomized by dishes like beef bourguignon, soared in popularity. While beef bourguignon itself has roots deep in the heart of Burgundy, France, its star turn in American households can be attributed to Julia Child. Her cooking school, operating out of her Parisian kitchen since 1952, laid the foundation for a love affair between Americans and French cuisine. Although her cookbook reached eager hands in the 60s, beef bourguignon had already cemented itself as a refined and sought-after classic on American dinner tables in the preceding decade. So picture this: you, a glass of wine in hand, just as Julia would recommend, embarking on a delightful journey of recreating this timeless classic. Beef bourguignon, with its rich flavors and slow-cooked perfection, became the ultimate showstopper at dinner parties of the 60s, making every bite a culinary triumph. Number 19, olive loaf. Alright, let's shift gears and delve into a deli classic that has sparked both curiosity and, let's be honest, a fair bit of skepticism. Olive loaf. You might still spot it in the deli section, standing alongside bologna and roast beef, but the real question is, does anyone actually indulge in this peculiar creation? Essentially, olive loaf takes the familiar concept of bologna, adds a twist of pimento-stuffed olives, and bakes it into a loaf instead of encasing it in a sausage casing. The meat itself gets a flavor boost from garlic, basil, and/or peppers, creating a unique and, for some, acquired taste. Now, opinions on this one may vary. Some might deem it an abomination, while others surprisingly find it quite enjoyable. While olive loaf may not be as popular today as it was in the 50s, it's a deli relic that has managed to stand the test of time, offering a distinct blend of flavors that continues to intrigue and divide taste buds. Number 18, Watergate salad. A dish shrouded in mystery, controversy, and a whole lot of marshmallows. Also known by various monikers like pistachio pineapple delight, shut the gate salad, and green fluff. This sweet concoction has found its way onto countless potluck tables, barbecues, and family gatherings. But behind its innocent appearance lies a tangled web of speculation about its origins. The recipe itself is a simple blend of pistachio pudding, canned crushed pineapple, whipped topping, mini marshmallows, walnuts, and maraschino cherries. Kraft Foods claims to have introduced it in the 1970s alongside their pistachio-flavored Jell-O pudding. However, the exact origins remained elusive. One theory ties it to a journalist who humorously likened dessert salads to the handling of the Watergate scandal, while others suggest a sous chef at the infamous Watergate Hotel may be the true culinary mastermind behind it. Now let's be real here. Just because you toss together a mishmash of ingredients and label it a salad doesn't exactly make you a salad aficionado. Remember dear old ambrosia? The cursed fruit salad nobody asked for? Well, Watergate salad swoops in to continue the legacy of questionable salads. The name alone, inspired by one of the most infamous political scandals in history, sets the stage for a culinary experience that might not be everyone's cup of tea. Picture a goopy, mint green mixture that triggers a gag reflex once you realize it's a mishmash of pistachio pudding, whipped cream topping, canned pineapple, nuts, and you guessed it, the ambrosia staple, marshmallows. Number 17, Vienna sausage. The miniature canned delicacy that once graced the tables of many households, but now find itself relegated to the dusty corners of nostalgia. Originating as a longwurst in Austria, akin to a hot dog, its identity transformed in the United States into short, smoked wieners neatly packaged into cans in the early 20th century. Now let's be honest, you've probably encountered these slimy cold cylinders at some point in your life. However, their popularity has seen better days, and with good reason. Just take a moment to glance at the nutritional information on the can. A whopping 1,095 milligrams of sodium in just a 4-ounce can.
Libby's Vienna sausage. Libby's is made with all meat, no fillers, so they're all...
That's enough to make you reconsider your snack choices. And let's not even get started on the ingredients. Parboiled sausage made from pork and beef, encased in sheep intestine, and generously bathed in chicken broth. Excuse me? Any sentence that features both parboiled and sheep intestine is a clear sign that perhaps it's best to steer clear. Loaded with sodium nitrate and saturated fat, Vienna sausages don't exactly scream healthy snack. Fresh from the can, which, let's admit, is problem number one, Vienna sausages emerge as slimy, cold cylinders that demand a fair bit of TLC and maybe a sauce bath to become somewhat palatable. Often associated with bachelor food, one can almost envision these little wieners becoming the sustenance of choice. Number 16. Sweet and low. Now let's talk about a sweet sensation that has become a staple in the lives of baby boomers. Sweet and low. You've probably spotted those iconic little pink packets in cafes and diners everywhere. What's the secret to this sugar substitute's success? It's made with saccharin, dextrose, and cream of tartar. Sweet and Low, with its zero-calorie promise, has been a go-to artificial sweetener for decades. However, its journey wasn't without controversy. In Canada, saccharin-made Sweet and Low faced a ban until 2014 amid concerns about a potential link to bladder cancer. Subsequent studies, however, debunked these fears, proving them false. While the sweetener isn't directly linked to cancer, it's essential to be mindful of its consumption. Just because it boasts 0 calories doesn't automatically mean it's a healthier alternative to sugar. So whether you're sweetening your coffee or tea or sprinkling it on your favorite treats, those pink packets of Sweet and Low have become more than just a sugar substitute. They're a nostalgic companion for many boomers. Chipped beef on toast. Now let's switch gears and dive into a comfort food classic that might not have graced everyone's table, but holds a special place in the heart of those with military connections. Chipped beef on toast, fondly known as shit on a shingle, or SOS. This dish is crafted from simple ingredients: dried beef, milk, butter, flour, cayenne, salt, and pepper. The process involves cooking everything up in a saucepan over medium heat and serving it atop a piece of dry toast. While it may not sound like a culinary masterpiece, chipped beef on toast was a practical and economical meal for troops. Its low-cost ingredients, ease of preparation, and decent nutritional profile made it a go-to for military families. Although it's not as widespread today, those who grew up with it still savor the nostalgia of this straightforward and hearty dish. Often referred to by a nickname we can't print on a family-friendly program, or SOS.
Soldiers heated up using C4. Yeah.
Creamed chipped beef on toast earned its popularity during World War II, where it was a regular feature on soldiers' menus. This humble dish made its way back home with the troops, finding its place on some restaurant menus, particularly along the East Coast. Number 14. Jell-O salad, or aspic. I say let's talk about a culinary creation that sparks strong opinions and, let's be honest, a fair amount of confusion. Jell-O salad, sometimes ominously referred to as aspic. Brace yourselves as we journey into the world of gelatinous wonders that have both intrigued and horrified taste buds for centuries. Picture this, a dish that combines the wobbly magic of Jell-O with an eclectic mix of ingredients. While some adventurous souls opt for fruit and cottage cheese, others take things to a whole new level by blending meat and vegetables into this jiggly concoction. Yes, you heard that right, meat in Jell-O. The mere thought might be enough to make you question the sanity of past generations. Back in the day, these wobbly wonders were considered fine dining, and the creativity in Jell-O molds knew no bounds. From fruity delights to savory surprises, boomers seemed determined to put anything and everything into a Jell-O mold. And while we can appreciate the spirit of experimentation, we can't help but wonder, just because you can put anything into a Jell-O mold, does it mean you should? Fast forward to today. Jell-O salads are firmly planted in the Retro Culinary Hall of Fame. But let's be real, there's nothing trendy about bringing back these wobbly, sometimes savory, sometimes sweet concoctions. Imagine a mix of flavored gelatin, fruit, grated carrots, veggies, and occasionally throwing in some cottage cheese, cream cheese, marshmallows, nuts, or pretzels for good measure. It may have been the cool thing in the 60s, but perhaps it's time to give Jell-O a break and let it retire gracefully from our dining tables. Number 13. Twinkies. Now let's take a realm into the guilty pleasures that have a permanent spot in American pantries. Twinkies. When it comes to snack cakes, any Hostess product is a nostalgic delight, but Twinkies take the crown as the undisputed icon of packaged desserts. These golden treats, with their creamy filling encased in a deep-fried, flaky crust, are like a sugary indulgence that boomers simply can't resist. Sure, Twinkies might not win any health awards, and their nutritional profile may not be the most virtuous, but let's face it, boomers don't seem to mind. After experiencing a temporary hiatus in 2012 due to a bankruptcy, Hostess made a comeback, ensuring that Twinkies continue to hold a special place in the hearts and pantries of generations who grew up savoring these sweet delights. Because really, what would boomers do without a stash of Twinkies on hand at all times?
Everyone needs a go-to chicken.
Number 12. Creamed corn. Here's a food that may leave some scratching their heads. Creamed corn. It's as if someone had a deep affection for corn and thought, you know what would make this better? Adding a milky residue to the mix. While corn in its various forms can be delightful, roasted, boiled, on the cob, or even loose, the idea of creaming it takes things in a questionable direction. For some reason, boomers found joy in combining the natural sweetness of corn with the creamy touch of its pulped kernels. However, it's crucial to cook it just right. Otherwise, you might end up with a dish that not only looks unappetizing, but also challenges the limit of culinary creativity. And let's not ignore the fact that the calorie count of creamed corn can reach astronomically unhealthy levels. Number 11. Chicken pot pie. There's nothing like chicken pot pie to conjure up both nostalgia and dread in equal measure. For many, it's a reminder of childhood meals or cozy family dinners. However, for others, it resurfaces horror-filled memories akin to the stop-motion film Chicken Run, and it's never quite been the same since. Let's be honest here, the chicken pot pie isn't exactly known for its culinary finesse. The mishmash of peas, carrots, gravy, and chicken often creates a soupy, unappetizing mess that leaves much to be desired. And even when the flaky crust appears promising, the one-dimensional flavor and lumpy texture of the filling make it entirely forgettable. Now, don't even get us started on the frozen variations of this dish. While we understand that growing up with certain meals can foster a sense of comfort and familiarity, some things are best left in the past. Overall, chicken pot pie might have had its moment in the spotlight, but it's safe to say that it's a sad excuse for pie that simply doesn't belong in the culinary landscape of the 21st century.
Use a can opener to open the can of SpaghettiOs.
Unless, of course, you're prepared for a nasty stomachache. Number 10. SpaghettiOs. SpaghettiOs. The classic kids' meal that's as infamous for its appearance as it is for its taste. Let's be real here, folks. It's hard to believe that a saucy concoction of charmingly shaped pasta could ever win any award in the aesthetics department. And while SpaghettiOs may not be as unhealthy as one might assume, given their interesting appearance, they don't certainly win any points for cleanliness. Reheating a can of SpaghettiOs in the microwave might seem like a valid option for a quick meal, but it often leads to a less than pleasant experience. The flavor, smell, and appearance take a nosedive, leaving much to be desired. In essence, SpaghettiOs can be considered an assault on the five senses, a meal that's best approached with caution. And let's not even get started on the loss of any semblance of flavor that occurs after a quick zap in the microwave. Number 9. Prunes. The prune is one of the dried plums that have been celebrated for their digestive benefits and embraced by generations as a remedy for tummy troubles. While these wrinkled fruits boast a slew of health benefits, including natural potassium, iron, and vitamins, many millennials find it challenging to look past their laxative-like reputation. Who needs to buy gimmicky slimming tea from Instagram influencers when you've got a bottle of prune juice in the pantry, right? Say prunes have their place in grandma's arsenal of bellyache remedies, but millennials argue that they shouldn't be hailed as a one-size-fits-all solution to every ache, pain, or ailment. And let's be real, the taste isn't exactly a crowd pleaser. Despite the novelty and health benefits, the mediocre medicinal flavor of prunes leaves something to be desired, and millennials aren't afraid to stand by that judgment. Number 8. Limburger cheese. Limburger cheese, a wonder that still has boomers rooting for it, despite its notorious reputation for a nauseating aroma. The bacteria responsible for the odor is often likened to the smell of stinky feet. Now, doesn't that sound appetizing? This cheese seems like a creation the gods themselves might turn their backs on as an abomination against humanity. Okay, maybe that was a bit dramatic, but seriously, who genuinely enjoys this cheese? If boomers' stomach can't handle foods in their non-pudding form, it's a mystery how they endured the pungent smell of Limburger. While millennials might experiment with various versions of fermented tea for a detox, their low smell tolerance doesn't quite match up to the formidable challenge presented by this cheese. Limburger is part of the category of smear-ripened, washed rind cheeses. These cheeses are cured in a saltwater brine and may include ingredients like beer, wine, and spirits. Periodic washing with this solution keeps the surface moist and hospitable to bacteria like Brevibacterium linens, the very same bacterium responsible for human body odor, specifically foot odor. So if someone tells you Limburger smells like sweaty gym socks, well, they are technically correct. Number 7. Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel, the Sunday morning haven for every boomer, a chain restaurant steeped in tradition. Stepping into a Cracker Barrel feels like taking a journey through a wormhole, landing in a dimension where cornbread, country CDs, rocking chairs, potatoes, and novelty toys reign supreme.
My first job in the kitchen was when I was 16.
It's a place where boomers find solace in the embrace of familiarity, much like other foods on this list. Cracker Barrel's charm extends beyond the menu. It's a haven of consistency, with locations dotting highways across over 40 U.S. states. The rocking chairs lining the exterior and the wallpaper adorned with old American paraphernalia create a comforting ambiance, acting as a second home for boomers yearning for the good old days. Number 6. Condensed soup. Who doesn't love a nice hot bowl of soup at the end of a workday, especially during chilly winter months? Soup, with its myriad variations, is a top-tier comfort food, evoking feelings of nostalgia for the good old days. Whether it's classic chicken noodle or tomato soup paired with grilled cheese, there's a soup for every craving. However, leave it to boomer inventions to take a good thing and somehow make it soulless and flavorless. Enter condensed soup, a concoction that drains the fun out of the whole soup-making process. Homemade soups, with their rich flavors and warmth, can be prepared in minutes at a fraction of the cost. So why are we still stocking our cabinets with these cans that pale in comparison to the real deal? Number 5. Buttermints. Buttermints, those candies that always seem to be hidden beneath the pockets of your grandpa's coat or at the bottom of your mom's purse, reserved as a little treat for being a good kid for the day. Kids had to grin and pretend that this candy was anywhere near tasty, silently wishing that their family would have some other candy to offer in the future. We wouldn't be surprised if boomers were the sole reason the buttermint business stays afloat, as you won't find these on shelves of millennial households. Millennials are too scarred from childhood memories of choking them down. They'd rather invest in an artisanal chocolate than indulge in the weirdly textured combination of butter, salt, peppermint oil, and powdered sugar that defines buttermints.
The tablets fall down a chute into a rotating.
Buttermints are a type of candy known for their smooth, creamy texture and refreshing minty flavor. While their exact origins are not entirely clear, they are believed to have been created in the United States in the early 20th century. One theory suggests that the Pearson Candy Company, known for producing the popular salted nut roll candy bar, invented buttermints as a way to utilize excess butter and cream left over from the production of other candies. Another theory attributes the creation of buttermints to the Reed's Candy Company based in Chicago, Illinois. According to this theory, Reed's developed buttermints to set themselves apart from other candy makers and offer consumers a unique product. Regardless of their origins, buttermints quickly gained popularity in the United States, particularly in the Midwest. They became a staple at weddings, parties, and special events, and were readily available in candy stores and general stores nationwide. Today, buttermints remain a beloved candy, often served as a complimentary treat at restaurants and hotels. They come in a variety of flavors and packaging options, continuing to evoke nostalgia for many candy lovers. Number 4. Wonder Bread. Hands up if you saw this one coming. Wonder Bread, the quintessential symbol of the good old days, when people thought it was the pinnacle of bread products. But let's be real here. Wonder Bread is classified as one of the unhealthiest brands on the planet, and it's not doing you any favors. Think back to your high school biology class. You probably learned a bit about simple and complex carbohydrates. Well, Wonder Bread falls squarely into the category of simple carbs. The simplest of simple, in fact. This means your body breaks it down quickly, leaving you hungry, loaded with sugar, and craving more calories. Number 3. Mrs. Dash. From the first taste of flavor on your favorite meal, Dash brings your taste buds to life. That's the tagline for the infamous boomer spice that they can't just let go of. We can't deny that the spicy mixture is flavorful, but there's always a risk with salt substitutes for some unwanted health problems. Let's take a look at the laundry list of ingredients in Mrs. Dash. Onion, black pepper, parsley, celery seed, basil, bay marjoram, oregano, savory, thyme, cayenne pepper, coriander, cumin, mustard, rosemary, garlic, carrot, orange peel, tomato, lemon juice powder, citric acid, and oil of lemon. Seems like a bit of overkill if you ask us. It's essential to consult with your doctor before resorting to these salt substitutes, as they can be dangerous if you suffer from kidney disease, heart disease, high blood pressure, liver disease, or diabetes. Number 2. Chicken tetrazzini. Don't be fooled by the name. Chicken tetrazzini isn't actually an authentic Italian dish. It's named after opera singer Luisa Tetrazzini, but that doesn't make it any less delicious. Traditionally, the dish features chicken or turkey, though seafood works too, and mushrooms in a creamy wine or sherry sauce served over spaghetti or egg noodles. Some recipes even call for cream of mushroom soup to create a richer sauce, then baked into a casserole for extra goodness. Back in the 1950s, turkey tetrazzini was the epitome of fashionable cuisine, adored by ladies who lunch. It was like the rich man's chicken a la king, a dish that always came to mind when pondering over the generous pile of excellent roasted turkey meat our Thanksgiving hostess has sent us home with. Number 1. Meat pate. Saving the best for last, or the worst, depending on your perspective. Meat pate isn't anything special compared to the other abominations on this list, but it's still worth discussing due to its heavy gross-out factor. Essentially just a paste stuffed with meat, this dish is a boomer specialty during special holiday cookouts. While some may find it delicious when prepared by a skilled chef, this tasty loaf needs special attention to the forcemeat stuffing it and how often it's served. Otherwise, you might end up with an overabundance of vitamin A in your system, which can cause liver damage, increased brain pressure, and changes to your skin, vision, and bones. Not exactly the holiday treat you were hoping for. Thanks for watching. If these 1950 flavors brought back fond memories, hit that like button, share with fellow foodies, and subscribe for more trips from the Boomers era. Stay tuned.